Hello all, Philip with Phillips Computer Repair. Check this out. My new hats came in. They look really nice. That was a side note. Alright, talking about what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, if you have a MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iMac, Mac Studio, any of those computers, and I'm sure you've had the situation before in which the people you talk to don't know anything about Apple computers or whatever. No need to fear. I know all about them. I used to work for Apple, so I'm very well versed in all those platforms. Uh, if you ever if you ever forgotten your password or the password's just not going through, the issue is that there was a kernel panic in the or kernel operating system handshake that just was not happening the way it should have. So first thing I always recommend doing is running first aid. Try and get that resolved. The way you do that is try and boot your shut the computer down, boot it into what we call Mac OS recovery. There are 4 steps, 4 ways you can do this. It really depends on what type of processor you have. It could be an Intel, it could be a T2 security chip, and it can be an Apple M1, M2, and 3 and 4 silicon chip. It really just depends. The way you find that out is by going to checkcoverage.apple.com. That's just going to tell you whether or not you have Apple Care or not. Don't really care about that. We just care to make sure that it tells you what kind of computer you have. If you have an M1, M2, M3, M4, it's going to list it in there. It's going to say it's explicitly in there what you got, or specifically what you got. Then, if it doesn't, you're going to be tinkering between the T2 security chip and the Intel. Okay, so the best way to handle that is to check there. If you're not able to determine from that point, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to shut the computer down. As soon as you shut it down, turn it back on, and the way you turn it back on is going to be a little different. You're going to turn it back on by pressing and holding the power button. Release the power button immediately, and then press and hold the Command R button. The command button is the little squiggly pound sign. I'm not even really sure how you want to describe it, but I'm sure, if you're a Mac user or Apple user, I'm sure you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Press and hold those 2 buttons. Press and hold it until it looks like the computer might be doing a little something, because the little progress bar is gonna load up, and it's gonna start going a little slower, and a bit of the sequence is gonna be a bit different. You'll notice the distinct difference on that. So after it does that, after you do that, what you want to do is, right after that happens, it'll give you 4 options. It's gonna be the Mac OS recovery. You're gonna have the what was it? Brain fart. It's one was reinstall Mac OS, whatever Mac OS you had when it first happened. So if it's an older computer, you might be dealing with Ventura. You could be going as far back as probably Monterey, even further back than that. Hopefully you don't have something that old, but if you do, it could be something like that. I have seen Big Sur even on some computers, but that one. Maybe it was. Oh, the first option was restore from backup. You don't want that. You're gonna want to. You're not gonna want to do reinstall Mac OS. That's gonna be like the last case scenario. If in case for whatever reason the password reset tool doesn't work. From there, then what you can do is you can go to try and launch Safari and see if you can't see if there's tools in there that you can use. But what I would do is, before resetting your password, go to the run first aid and do it that way, or it's gonna be you're gonna want to click on utilities. From utilities, then first aid is gonna be kind of in the top right corner ish. Click on that. Make sure you have the specific hard drive, because sometimes I've noticed people will partition their hard drive into different segments of holding certain types of data. So make sure you have the right hard drive highlighted. Click on the specific hard drive you're wanting. Go to first aid. Let first aid run its thing. Typically, first aid will find the error in the code in the kernel area. It'll be able to correct it automatically. It's just, like I said, a quick kernel panic. It happens from time to time, but it's really nothing to worry about. It typically does fix. I really have not come across where the first aid does not automatically fix a quick kernel panic. I have not really encountered a single computer that has not been fixed. The password reset tool that has not been fixed by that way. So if that does not fix it for you, then what you'll want to do is you're going to want to exit out of first aid, reboot the computer again, see if that fixes it. If it doesn't, reboot the computer, do the Mac OS recovery, which is the Command and R button, or do the Command R Shift and or the Command R Shift Option buttons. The more buttons, it does get a little tricky, and I completely get it. But that's the way you have to do those sequences. Just do those, and that's going to kind of help you determine which computer you have, whether it's M1, M1, M2, M3, M4 silicon processor, a T2 security chip, or an Intel. From there, then when you get back into that, then what you'll want to do is, instead of selecting those 4 options, at the very top left corner, you're going to see the Utilities tab. Click on that, drop down, go to a thing that says Terminal. Open Terminal. That's going to basically be, Terminal is basically the same thing as Command Prompt on a Windows PC and or PowerShell, whichever one you want to use. But Terminal is how it is on an Apple computer. From there, type in the bash command, reset password, all one word, no spaces, no nothing. Hit enter, return. It's going to bring up the reset password tool. Then you'll go ahead and go through the process. Hopefully you know your Apple account information to get logged back in, because it's going to have to the system's going to have to verify and make sure you are who you say you are, so that you're not just reset the password for a computer that ain't yours. And then hopefully your computer isn't locked down with FileVault, because that's an encrypted hard drive, which means that if you don't know your Apple account information, that could be a whole nother slew of issues right there. Because if you unlock your computer's hard disk with FileVault as opposed to your Apple account, if you don't know where that key is, that FileVault key is, literally you're screwed, unless you're okay with wiping out that hard drive in its entirety, so all data is gone pecan. So get back on track, go into the password reset tool, do all that. Then as soon as you get to a part where it says for new password, do that. You don't necessarily have to put a password in, but it would be to your benefit to put one. Then after that, then you'll need to go ahead, go to the top left hand corner of the where the Apple logo is, drop down and go to restart the computer. After that, it should boot up to where you can put your new password, and you should be able to log in perfectly fine. I hope all this information was helpful. I know I spoke kind of fast, but you can always adjust this video for me to speak slower if need, but those are the steps and prompts to do that. You can also go check out Apple's knowledge-based resources. They do have these as public-facing documents, and they're very beneficial to use. I noticed because there was some of them that I did write, so hope you find them very useful. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. Again, Philip with Philip's Computer Repair. Y'all have a good one.